The stars were bright that night, but Captain Elena Drake could not see them. She stood on the bridge of the Aegis, Earth's most advanced humanitarian spacecraft, staring at the holographic map of Viridia. The planet had sent a distress signal 6 weeks ago, and finally, the crew was close enough to respond. Elena's heart pounded. Every mission she had led carried risk, but this one felt different. It wasn't about war or exploration, it was about saving lives. The Viridians' message had been clear. Help is coming. We need your knowledge. Our planet suffers. Her team moved quietly around the bridge. Lieutenant Harris checked the ship's external sensors, and Dr. Meera Patel examined the planetary scan data. Captain, atmospheric readings are stable. Gravity is 0.9 grams, perfect for landing, Meera reported. Her voice carried the calm precision Elena relied on. Elena nodded. Good. But keep scanning. Anything unusual, I want to know immediately. The Viridians were an intelligent species. Humanoid but taller, with pale blue skin that shimmered faintly in sunlight. Their world was technologically advanced, but recent storms and seismic shifts had devastated cities. Crops failed, rivers flooded, and the planet's carefully balanced ecosystems struggled to survive. The crew descended into the planet's atmosphere. Clouds swirled below them like an ocean of mist. Elena's stomach twisted with a mix of excitement and unease. Sensors clear. Landing sequence initiated, Harris said. The Aegis hummed as its thrusters adjusted. When they touched down, the world was quiet. The air was crisp and smelled faintly of wet soil and blooming vegetation. Birds or bird-like creatures chirped in the distance. Elena breathed in slowly. It was beautiful, too beautiful. Stay sharp, Elena said, scanning the horizon. I don't like how quiet it is. A small group of Viridians approached, their tall forms moving gracefully across the uneven terrain. Their leader, Kale, stepped forward. His deep eyes reflected hope, relief, and fear all at once. Welcome, humans, Kale said in careful Earth standard. We have awaited your arrival. Elena stepped forward and extended her hand. We're here to help. Show us what needs saving first. Kale nodded, leading them to the nearest city. Buildings were tall but heavily damaged, roofs missing, walls cracked. Water had flooded streets, and vegetation had grown wildly in some areas. It was clear the Viridians had survived the storm, but just barely. As they walked, Dr. Patel scanned the air and soil. Interesting. The soil is rich, but something unusual is here, she murmured. Harris frowned. What do you mean? Radiation traces. Not dangerous to humans, but something is affecting the native wildlife. Elena's eyes narrowed. Keep monitoring. We don't know what we're dealing with yet. They reached the city's central plaza. The Viridians had begun rebuilding, but fear was visible in their movements. Children hid behind adults, and animals, strange creatures with translucent fur, kept a cautious distance. Kale gestured to a large building that once housed the city's research center. This is our heart of knowledge, he said. Many of our scholars were lost in the last disaster. Our scientists tried to contain the wildlife, but some escaped. Harris raised an eyebrow. Escaped? Kale's expression darkened. They are dangerous. Not just to us, but to all who enter. We hoped humans could help. Your technology, your courage. He trailed off. Elena understood. Humans had faced threats before. Humans had survived in worlds far harsher than Viridia. She felt a familiar surge of determination. We'll help, Kale, but we need more information. Take us to these creatures. Kale hesitated. Follow me, but be careful. They walked through streets where nature had begun to reclaim civilization. Trees had grown through buildings, vines wrapped around crumbling walls, and small animals darted between debris. Then they entered the research center. The scene was chaotic. Equipment lay broken, papers scattered, and claw marks marred walls. Elena scanned the room. This isn't a natural disaster, she murmured. Something here had caused the destruction after the storms, something alive. Suddenly, A shrill cry echoed from a side chamber. The crew tensed. Harris drew a small energy scanner. "Stay close." "I don't know what that was." Kale led them to the source. Inside, a small creature crouched in a corner. It was vaguely familiar, like something from Earth, but twisted by the alien environment. Its eyes glowed faintly, and its claws scraped the floor. Dr. Patel gasped. This resembles a predator species from Earth's jungles. How did it get here?" Elena's stomach sank. "Kale, are you saying these creatures came from Earth?" Kale shook his head. "No. We have no means of interstellar travel. Perhaps your signal, or some cosmic anomaly, brought them here." Elena frowned. "That's possible. But if these are Earth predators, and they adapt quickly, Viridia is in serious danger." The creature hissed and leapt toward the group. Harris fired a containment net, and it shrieked, retreating but still fighting. Elena grabbed Kale's arm. "See? This isn't just a problem for your scientists, it's a survival threat." Kale nodded grimly. "We feared this day would come. We hoped humans could give us a solution." Elena looked around at her crew. "We will. But first, we need a safe perimeter. Harris, set up energy barriers around the city. Patel, help me analyze these creatures' weaknesses. The rest of you, assist Kale's people in evacuating non-combatants." The crew moved with precision. Humans and Viridians worked together, their combined knowledge creating a temporary safe zone. Children and elderly were guided into shelters, and makeshift alarms warned of approaching predators. As night fell, the city took on an eerie glow. Strange creatures prowled outside the barriers, their movements fluid and intelligent. Elena walked to the edge of the safe zone, scanning the darkness. "Captain," Harris said quietly, "they're watching. Not just hunting, watching us." Elena's heart tightened. She had faced dangerous animals before, but these were different. These predators were clever, fast, and seemingly coordinated. The human advantage, intelligence, and teamwork would be tested like never before. Inside the safe zone, Kale approached. "Your species. You are brave to face this. We feared no one could stop them." Elena shook her head. "It's not bravery alone. We survive because we adapt. We learn. We plan. And we fight together." Kale nodded slowly, understanding dawning. "Then, perhaps, hope is not lost." That night, Elena could not sleep. She reviewed the data from the creatures. Noting their strengths and possible weaknesses, she drafted potential strategies, knowing the next day could decide the survival of an entire civilization. Outside, in the shadows beyond the barriers, the predators moved silently. Their eyes glowed, and their intelligence was clear. They were not mindless. They had adapted to Viridia's environment and learned quickly from every attempt to contain them. Elena knew the humans were in a race against time. She thought of Earth, of her crew, of the ideals that drove humanity forward. Courage, ingenuity, and compassion. Here, on Viridia, they would need every ounce of those qualities. As the first rays of Viridia's sun broke through the clouds, illuminating the devastated city, Elena felt a spark of determination. They had arrived to save lives, but survival would require more than hope. It would require humans to show why their species could overcome impossible odds. And for the first time, she understood fully what the Viridians had meant in their message. Help had arrived, but the danger had arrived with it. The morning sun spilled over the city of Viridia, highlighting the chaos left behind by the previous night. The humans and Viridians had spent hours reinforcing the barriers, setting up observation posts, and relocating civilians to safer areas. Captain Elena Drake surveyed the work from the central plaza, her mind racing. "These creatures are smart," she said to Lieutenant Harris. "They didn't just attack randomly, they're learning, adapting. We need a plan that outsmarts them, not just reacts." Harris nodded. I've studied their behavior overnight. They seem to hunt in small, coordinated groups. They test barriers, watch our reactions, and retreat when faced with too much resistance. They're calculating. Elena rubbed her temples. Then our advantage is our own intelligence. Humans survive not because we are the fastest or the strongest, but because we can think. Dr. Meera Patel approached, carrying her portable scanner. Captain, I've gathered more data. These creatures resemble Earth predators, big cats, wolves, even some insect-like features but adapted to Viridia's ecosystem. They have heightened senses, but they react strongly to certain frequencies and light pulses. Elena's eyes lit up. That's it. That's our opening. We can use that against them. Harris, start designing traps with light pulses and sound disruptors. Patel, work on a mobile device to test frequencies safely. Kale, standing nearby, watched them intently. Your species, you are clever. Our scholars would never have discovered this so quickly. Elena smiled faintly. We survive by learning fast. And now, we teach each other. We'll combine our knowledge with yours to protect this city. As the team began preparations, a low rumble echoed from the hills surrounding the city. The creatures were approaching. Not slowly, but in a coordinated, almost tactical manner. Elena signaled everyone to positions. Harris activated the first line of light traps. A few creatures approached, cautious, sniffing the air, their glowing eyes scanning for weakness. The devices emitted bright pulses, and the creatures recoiled, hissing. One lunged through a gap in the barrier, but Harris triggered a secondary net trap, capturing it safely. Good, but not perfect, Elena muttered. They're learning fast. Meanwhile, Kale's people evacuated more civilians, moving them to underground shelters reinforced with human energy barriers. The combination of Viridian technology and human ingenuity was already saving lives. Patel tested frequencies in a small dome. The creatures reacted violently, retreating or freezing when certain patterns played. We can use this as a weapon, she said. If we coordinate with Harris's traps, we can control their movements. Elena nodded. Then we prepare a controlled attack. We don't destroy unnecessarily. We need to neutralize them. Push them away from the city. And we have to protect the Viridians. Hours passed. The team worked tirelessly, setting up corridors of sound traps and light pulses to guide the creatures toward open fields, away from civilians. Humans and Viridians moved together, communicating seamlessly. It was exhausting, but Elena felt pride. This was why humans survived, because even in fear, they acted with reason and teamwork. As night fell, the first major confrontation began. The creatures attacked in larger numbers, testing the barriers repeatedly. Their intelligence was frightening. They observed the humans' patterns, attempted to exploit gaps, and communicated with each other through low growls and clicks. Elena watched from a high vantage point, her pulse steady. Remember your training. Humans adapt. Viridians, follow our lead. Protect the civilians. Lure the predators toward the fields. Do not engage them directly, unless necessary. The humans moved with precision. Harris triggered light traps to confuse the creatures, while Patel activated frequency pulses that disoriented them. Viridians used energy shields to block attacks and guide civilians safely underground. The predators, clever and fast, still managed to breach the outer defenses at several points, creating moments of panic. One creature leapt over a barrier and charged at a group of children. Elena dove, firing a non-lethal stun beam. The creature froze momentarily, giving the children time to escape. She rolled back behind cover, breathing heavily. Kale approached her, concern etched on his face. Captain, if they continue at this pace, they may overwhelm us. We cannot hold forever. Elena nodded grimly. Then we don't hold, we lead. We adapt. Watch. She signaled Harris and Patel. Together, they activated a coordinated trap, using sound pulses to confuse the creatures while flashing lights guided them toward a canyon outside the city. The predators hesitated, uncertain, then followed the cues. Look, Patel pointed. Several creatures were moving exactly where the humans wanted them. It's working. Elena allowed herself a brief smile. It's not enough. But it's a start. We need to refine this for tomorrow. We can't just survive, we have to regain control. That night, as the city settled into tense silence, Elena gathered her crew and Kyle. Around a holographic map of the city and surrounding lands, they reviewed the day's events. We've learned a lot, Elena began. They react to sound, to light, to patterns we can predict. They are intelligent. But they are not invincible. Tomorrow, we implement the next phase-controlled relocation. We guide them away from the city entirely. Kale's eyes reflected both hope and fear. Your species, you are not only brave, but wise. We did not know we could survive this threat. Elena shook her head. It's not about bravery alone. It's about adaptation. Humans survive because we plan, we observe, we learn from our mistakes. And tonight, we taught these creatures a lesson. They know we are not easy prey. But as the team rested, a new concern emerged. Harris reported on the scanner. Captain, there are more of them. Larger ones. Different. More aggressive. They were hiding in the mountains, watching us. I think they were planning an attack. Elena's stomach sank. They're evolving. They're learning from each encounter. That means tomorrow will be even harder, Patel frowned. If they coordinate better, they could overwhelm any barrier. We need a more advanced plan, a way to control or contain them completely. Elena's mind raced. She could feel the weight of responsibility. This wasn't just about a mission anymore. It was about survival, strategy, and leadership. And humans had a way of surviving that no other species had mastered. The next morning, the city was eerily quiet. Even the birds stayed hidden. Elena and her team prepared the controlled relocation plan. They set up corridors of sound, light traps, and decoy signals, leading to a wide-open canyon where the predators could be safely guided and monitored. As they began, creatures emerged from the shadows, larger and more numerous than before. Their glowing eyes locked on the humans. But Elena stayed calm. She signaled Harris to activate the pulse sequences. The predators hesitated, then followed the cues. One of the largest creatures, a hybrid resembling Earth's apex predators, broke formation and charged toward the humans. Elena fired a concentrated pulse, stunning it temporarily. Patel quickly recalibrated the frequency, and the creature staggered back. Kale's people watched in awe. Your species. You do not panic. You think. You act. That is why you survive, he whispered to a young Viridian beside him. The battle continued for hours. Humans and Viridians worked together seamlessly, combining tactics, technology, and instinct. Slowly, the predators were guided out of the city. Some were contained temporarily, while others fled into monitored zones. By nightfall, the city was safe. The team gathered, exhausted but triumphant. Elena looked over the recovered civilians and the remaining predators. Now contained and observed, we did it, Harris said, breathing heavily. But that was close. Too close, Elena nodded. Yes, but remember, we learned. We adapted. Humans do not give up, and now, neither will Viridians. Kale stepped forward. You have saved our city, our people. We owe you our lives. More than that, you have shown us how to face fear with wisdom. Perhaps we can survive anything together. Elena smiled faintly. That's the goal. Survival is not just strength, it's intelligence, courage, and unity. Today we proved it. As the sun rose again over Viridia, Elena allowed herself a moment of relief. But she knew the danger was not over. The predators had evolved, learned from their encounters, and would not be easy to contain forever. Yet for the first time, she saw something stronger than fear in the Viridian's eyes: hope. And that was what humans brought to every challenge: hope, courage, and the ability to survive where others might fail. Elena Drake stood tall, ready for the battles ahead. For her crew, for the Viridians, and for humanity itself, she knew the next steps would test every skill they possessed. But humans had a way of overcoming impossible odds, and this was just the beginning. The morning sun bathed the city of Viridia in a pale golden light. Captain Elena Drake stood on the highest terrace of the central plaza, overlooking the city she and her crew had fought so hard to protect. The Viridians were already moving with purpose, repairing buildings, planting crops, and reinforcing shelters. Yet, Elena knew that peace was fragile. The predators they had driven away yesterday were clever, adaptable, and still a threat. Reports from scanners indicated that some had returned to the nearby forests, observing from the shadows, learning from their mistakes. Elena turned to her crew. "We've kept the city safe, but temporary safety is not enough. We need a permanent solution. Harris, Patel, let's finalize the containment system. Kale, I'll need your people's help to create lures and channels. We need them to leave the city and settle far from civilians." Kale nodded. "We will follow your lead. Humans, you are extraordinary. We feared this could not be done, but now we see hope." Elena allowed herself a small smile. It's not just humans. It's collaboration. That is how we survive together. The team began preparations immediately. Patel worked on a portable device that could emit a combination of frequencies and light patterns, designed to guide the predators along a controlled path. Harris set up energy barriers and decoy signals in strategic locations. Viridians, under Kale's direction, prepared bait and safe channels in the forests beyond the city. By midday, the plan was ready. The predators, numbering in dozens, had gathered near the city outskirts. Some were larger than any species on Earth, with claws like daggers and eyes that glowed with intelligence. They were cautious, but curiosity drew them closer. Elena signaled her team. Harris activated the first sequence of light pulses. Patel triggered frequency patterns. The predators hesitated, their instincts conflicting with confusion. A few tested the barriers but recoiled when met with synchronized responses. "Steady," Elena whispered. "Follow the path. Don't let them scatter." One of the predators, larger and more aggressive than the others, lunged toward the humans. Elena fired a pulse beam, stunning it temporarily. The Viridians activated barriers to guide it toward the canyon. Slowly, the creatures began to move along the channel, responding to the combined stimuli. Kale watched in awe. "I have never seen such control over nature. Your species, your people. This is remarkable." Elena focused. "It's not just control. It's understanding. Observe, learn, predict, and act. That is how humans survive." Hours passed. The creatures resisted, tested, and retreated multiple times, but the team adapted each time. Harris recalibrated light pulses, Patel adjusted frequencies, and the Viridians altered the bait and channels. Slowly, the predators began to follow the path out of the city. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the final challenge emerged. A massive predator, nearly twice the size of the others, broke from the group and charged directly at the humans. Its claws tore through the earth, its roar shaking the air. Elena's heart pounded. She fired a concentrated pulse, but it barely slowed the creature. She realized brute force would not work. She needed strategy. "Patel, Harris, coordinate now," she shouted. "We combine everything." The team activated a synchronized sequence of pulses, lights, and decoy signals. The predator hesitated, confused by the sudden barrage of stimuli. Elena moved quickly, using a portable energy net to trap it temporarily. The creature struggled, but Patel adjusted the frequency to calm it just enough to be guided along the channel. The other predators followed, drawn by the coordinated path, until all had safely left the city. The canyon beyond the city became a monitored sanctuary, where they could live without threatening the Viridians. The humans and Viridians cheered quietly, exhausted but triumphant. Elena allowed herself a deep breath. For the first time since arriving, she felt a true sense of relief. Kale approached her, bowing slightly. Captain Drake, you have saved not only our city but our people. You have shown us that hope is possible, even in the darkest times. Your species, humans, you are worthy allies. Elena smiled. We didn't do it alone. This was teamwork. We taught each other, adapted together, and survived. That is what matters. That night, a celebration began in the city. Humans and Viridians shared food, music, and stories. The Viridians marveled at human technology, while humans learned more about Viridian culture. For the first time since the disaster, laughter and joy echoed through the streets. Elena walked among the people, observing. She saw children playing safely, Viridians teaching humans about local plants, and her crew exchanging smiles with the locals. She felt pride not for herself, but for humanity. Humans had a way of surviving, not just for themselves, but for others. Courage, intelligence, and compassion. Those were the qualities that defined them. Patel joined her. Captain, I've been studying the predators' behavior during relocation. They're adapting, but they've learned to avoid humans. If we monitor them carefully, the city should remain safe indefinitely. Elena nodded. Good. But let's not get complacent. We've proven humans can survive against the odds. But vigilance is key. That's what makes us strong. Harris approached. Captain, the Viridians want to create a joint monitoring program. They've asked us to help design technology that can track these predators and other potential threats. They see us as teachers, not just rescuers. Elena felt a warmth in her chest. That's exactly what we want. Knowledge shared is protection ensured. We survived together, and now we can continue to thrive together. Over the next few weeks, humans and Viridians worked side by side. The predators were carefully studied, their behavior mapped, and safeguards put in place. The Viridians learned human techniques for observation, prediction, and containment. The humans learned about Viridian ecosystems and technology, gaining insights that Earth had never seen. One morning, Kyle approached Elena with a gift, a small device, engraved with Viridian symbols. Captain, this is a token of our gratitude. It represents our new alliance. You have saved us, taught us, and proven that together we can overcome even the deadliest challenges. Elena accepted it humbly. Thank you, Kale. But the real gift is what we've learned from each other. Courage, intelligence, and compassion are not just human traits. They can be universal when shared. Months passed. The city flourished, and the Viridians adapted human techniques to improve their defenses and infrastructure. The predators were no longer a threat, monitored carefully and living in harmony with the natural environment. Humans had shown that intelligence, strategy, and courage could overcome even unpredictable dangers. Elena and her crew prepared to return to Earth, their mission complete. The Viridians gathered to see them off, their faces full of respect and gratitude. Kale spoke last. Captain Drake, humans have come to us in our darkest hour, and have proven their worth, not through strength alone, but through wisdom, courage, and heart. We will remember this always. You have saved not just lives, but our future. Elena smiled. We didn't just save lives. We built a bridge between our worlds. That is what matters. Humanity survives, not because of weapons or power, but because of hope, intelligence, and the willingness to help others. Remember that, and your world will thrive. As the Aegis lifted off, Elena looked down at Viridia one last time. The city below was alive with movement, laughter, and rebuilding. Humans had arrived to help, and together they had overcome a threat that seemed impossible. For Elena, the mission was a reminder of why humans endured through countless challenges across the universe. Intelligence, courage, compassion, and teamwork, these were humanity's true strengths. And on Viridia, those strengths had saved an entire civilization. The stars stretched endlessly before the Aegis, And Elena smiled. There would be other missions, other worlds, other challenges, but humans would continue to survive, to adapt, and to shine wherever hope was needed. And in that moment, she knew, without a doubt, the humans had left their mark on Viridia. Not just as rescuers, but as heroes worthy of trust and admiration. The galaxy was vast. Dangers were real. But humanity, through courage, intelligence, and heart, would always find a way.